The result of the process of economic reform is that Australia is now one of the most open economies in the world. It was enjoyed over 2 decades of economic growth, coupled with low inflation and relatively low unemployment. For purchasing power parity comparisons, the US dollar is exchanged at 98 Australian cents. Australia, a vibrant free market democracy, has recorded impressive economic progress unmarred by recession for more than 25 years. In addition to abundant natural resources, the economy has benefited from an effective system of government, a well-functioning legal system, and an independent bureaucracy, all of which have facilitated robust entrepreneurial development. Past of Australia economy. The name Australia is derived from Latin terra australis incognito, which means the unknown southern land. During the 18th century, Britain was split apart by the Industrial Revolution, driving thousands to the cities. Crime soon became a necessity for the underdogs and prisons overflowed. The solution was Botany Bay, Australia, an island that had hardly come under human eyes. In 1788, thousands of convicts disembarked onto the island. The majority were poor, illiterate and driven to petty theft and other small capers. Botany Bay became home to not just British and Irish prisoners, but surprisingly to American, Chinese, Indian, French and Africans as well. It is estimated that 22% of Australia's population today has a convict ancestor. By the 1850s, 5 colonies, New South Wales, Western Australia, South Australia, Queensland and Victoria, form the basis of today's Australia. In the late 1880s, nationalist sentiment reached a jingoistic peak, leading to the formation of the Commonwealth of Australia in 1901. The new federal government was given free will and powers overseen by the Crown. Years of racism and discrimination after the exit of the colonizers have now given way to more benevolent policies. A controversial directive was the White Australia Policy, enacted in 1901 during the forming of the Federation of States. This aimed at restricting the entry of immigrants from Asian countries. In those times, entrants into the country were selected on a variety of desirable factors. This extremely colored policy was abandoned in 1972. Australia's average GDP growth rate for the period 1901 to 2000 was 3.4% annually. As opposed to many Southeast Asian countries, the process towards independency was relatively peaceful and thus did not have significant negative impact on the economy and standard of living. Growth peaked during the 1920s, followed by the 1950s and the 1980s. By contrast, the late 1910s/early 1920s, the 1930s, the 1970s and early 1990s were marked by financial crises. Present of Australia economy. The economy of Australia is one of the largest mixed market economies in the world, with a GDP of odd $1.62 trillion as of 2015. Australia's total wealth is odd $6.4 trillion in 2013. In 2012, it was the 12th largest national economy by nominal GDP and the 19th largest measured by PPP, adjusted GDP, about 1.7% of the world economy. Australia is the 19th largest importer and 19th largest exporter. The Reserve Bank of Australia publishes quarterly forecasts of the economy. GDP by sector. Services, 73%. Mining, 7%. Construction, 9%. Manufacturing, 7%. Economic growth is largely dependent on the mining sector and agricultural sector, 12% of GDP, with the products to be exported mainly to the East Asian market. Despite the recent decline of the mining boom in the country, the Australian economy has remained resilient and stable. Few stat of Australian economy. Population in 2016, 24 million. GDP per capita, PPP, in 2016, $48,806. Gross domestic product, PPP, in 2016, $1.18 trillion. GDP growth rate in 2015, 2.3% annual change. GDP per capita, nominal in 2016, $51,593. Gross domestic product, nominal, in 2016, $1.257 trillion. Internet users in 2015, 84.6% of the population. Australia's per capita GDP is higher than that of the UK, Canada, Germany, and France in terms of purchasing power parity. Per capita GDP, PPP, Australia is ranked 5th in the world, IMF 2011. The country was ranked 2nd in the United Nations 2011 Human Development Index and 6th in the Economist Worldwide Quality of Life Index 2005. Australia's sovereign credit rating is AAA, higher than the United States of America. Future of Australia economy. The Australian economy will drop out of the G20 by 2050, according to research published today by PwC. And this slide will continue unless the nation's leaders fundamentally change the way they think about investing in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM, skills, says one of the country's leading technology entrepreneurs, Matt Berry. The PwC The World in 2050 report predicts the Australian economy will drop 10 places in world rankings by the middle of the century, dropping from its current rank of 19 to 29. This would put the Australian economy behind the likes of growing economies such as Bangladesh, Pakistan and the Philippines, and far behind economic powerhouses China, India and the US, which are predicted to stay at the top of the rankings over the next 35 years. According to PwC, the end of the Australian mining boom, and a lack of investment in other parts of the economy, will cause the Australian economy to fall behind. The PwC rankings are determined by comparing the purchasing power parity of each economy, and this year's result shows a broad shift from developed economies to emerging economies.
Hope you like our video. Hit the like button. More updates are coming. So, please subscribe us. Thanks for watching.